Seattle. Hi, Mark.
Hey, no, I'm Mark Taylor-Canfield. How are you doing?
Hey, Mark, long time. Thanks for calling.
No problem. I'm listening to you up here in Seattle. And by the way, I have a couple things to throw at you, but I am now doing a regular gig as a guest journalist for the Santos Show, broadcasting out of Boston. So I've gone national. So there you go.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. I love you. Thank you very much. But
thank you very much. I appreciate it. Say, give me some amphetamines here. I'm getting a little peckish. Go ahead, Mark. Go ahead.
We have a big Bernie Sanders fundraiser going on in Seattle tonight. The music industry, a lot of the clubs, the bands, the DJs get together, and they've been doing Bernie Down the House. So they have a show tonight, so I wanted to let people know in Seattle, go to the Rebar tonight.
I like that, Bernie Down the House. I suspect the Talking Heads would be okay with that, given who's doing it.
Well, this was a real discussion with one of the Seattle Bernie Sanders Washington State campaign organizers who said, well, we got in trouble because we were calling it Bernie Man, and so the Burning Man people
they got mad.
Asked them not to do it.
Yeah.
But I don't think the Talking Heads are going to do anything about it.
I don't think so.
Would be fine with it.
I think David Byrne would be very happy with it, frankly.
Yes. We also have the Washington State. I want to talk to you about some big protests happening in April, but also the Washington State caucuses and primary is coming up. We have a dual system here. I'm sure it's very confusing to a lot of people, but there's a caucus on March 24th for the Democrats, and then also in May is our regular primary. So that's an interesting story we could talk about at some point, the complexities of that system and how the Democrats are saying that they're going to honor the caucus votes in terms of allocating delegates, because the state law says that they can, choose to weigh the delegates either way, depending on whether the primary goes for that candidate or not. But the reason that I really wanted to call you is because in April there are some big protests happening in Washington, D.C. There's some Occupy folks who, believe it or not, that movement is still alive. I think actually it's probably gained some momentum given the Bernie Sanders campaign against Wall Street. But they have organized a national gathering, and they're going to meet at the Liberty Bell in Philadelphia and in march to Washington, D.C. So it's going to be a 10-day march. According to democracyspring.org, they already have 2,000 people who have pledged to risk arrest during mass civil disobedience, peaceful, but just civil disobedience in Washington, D.C., starting on April 11th. And then around on the 16th through the 18th, there's another series of events called, the first series of events is called the Democracy Spring, and then the second series is called Democracy Awakening, and that's MoveOn.org and a bunch of other groups who are going to be in Washington, D.C., and both of these unaffiliated events are going to be talking about Citizens United and the big money corrupting the U.S. election. So it's basically a pro-democracy sort of series of demonstrations and rallies. And what was you mentioned?
You mentioned a website. What was that website?
Democracyspring.org.
Democracyspring.org. Okay, Mark, I got to leave there for this installment because time is always against us. I want to reserve as much time